Hello again, and as you can see from the title of today's video, it is competition time. But don't get too excited. I'm not actually giving it anything away apart from the usual daily dose of membraphonic insight, brought to you at tremendous expense here at the lavishly equipped Lockdown Licks production studio. Now, the kind of competition I'm talking about is musical competition, and I don't mean that anyone actually cares or ever did care about how many single strokes you can play in 60 seconds. The only other person who might care about how many single strokes you can play in 60 seconds is somebody who can play fewer strokes than you in 60 seconds and wants to get better. But the actual playing of the instrument is not a competition. We're all different, we all have our different sounds, our approaches, our influences, and our tonal palette. It's unique to each one of us as our fingerprint or our DNA. Now, the kind of competition I'm talking about is kind of competition I alluded to briefly in yesterday's clip when I was talking about the sticking materials that I was used to be working on in the 1980s. And of course, it is competition within the industry. Now, I do get a little bit tired when I see my fellow professional musicians in various circumstances making what I think are somewhat disingenuous platitudes, saying there's room for everyone out there. Well, let me tell you right now, it's a very, very congested market, and in order to get as far as you possibly can, you've got to be the very best that you can be. Now, fortunately, we're living in times where information is freely and readily available. There are so many resources. Compared to when I was getting started 50 years ago, we had practically nothing. So there's plenty out there that will help you get to where you want to be as a player. And remember the checklist of things that people actually want from you. They want good time. They want a very, very strong awareness of dynamics and listening ability. They want you to be authentic. In other words, knowing how the drums are supposed to sound in any given musical context. And if you have a very wide range of music that you've listened to, you're far more likely to know what the function of the drums is in any given musical scenario, rather than if you spent your life trying to play as many single strokes as possible in 60 seconds. Now, the other thing that's important is to just be cool. And we all know rule number one of the music industry, and it's far too rude for me to repeat here. But some of the things I'm always advising students who are presently or aspiring professional players to bear in mind is don't try to be in two places at once. Don't take a gig, in other words, with the intention of actually not doing it. What I do is I take a booking and I honour that unless something completely ludicrous happens, like somebody offers me a whole run of work or something where the economic trade-off is just far too vast to even consider. But I don't do that kind of thing where some musicians will do, where they'll go up the road and knock back a long-standing commitment for an extra 10 quid. Try not to do that. It will catch you out. The other thing is try not to be everybody's favourite player. Bear in mind that once you get past a certain level of ability, how other people evaluate your playing is all a matter of subjective appraisal and has to do with their own aesthetic sensibilities. Certain people will like certain qualities in certain players more than others, and there's nothing you can do about it. Don't try to be another musician. Just be the best you can possibly be. I know it's an old cliche, but unlike a lot of cliches, it is absolutely true and remains true. And the other important one is don't try to be everybody's best friend. I've often said that if everybody likes you, you're doing something wrong. And I'm always a little bit careful around musicians who are everybody's best mate. Hi man, oh it's so great to see you. Because these are often the people who are running you down when your back's turned. So be very careful of the professional nice guys who inhabit the shadier corners of our industry. I would at this point in the series like to take a moment to thank all the crew here at Lockdown Licks who bring you these productions unfailingly every single day of the week. First of all, we have our producer and director, Angus. Our second assistant director is called Tom, as all assistant directors are. We've got Danny on lights, who also runs the auto cue for me, and Nick on sound. And of course, where would we be without the fabulous Lucy in hair and makeup? I wonder. So until next time, from all of us here at Lockdown Licks, goodbye.